This is Paul Newman, and if you are seeing this screen, I am hoping to assure you here that the live stream will start very soon. Hello everybody, and welcome back to what is another quick video for you all. Irish Champions Weekend has been and gone. Last couple of days at the Leopardstown and the Curragh. So I do feel it is important really just to see what was going on. I mean, it was weird. It was an interesting weekend, really. It was sort of past, present and future, because we had horses running for us looking to book a place on Classic Watch 24, which can be found at classicwatch24.great/site.net. We had horses from Classic Watch 2023 running for us also. Plenty of 3-year-olds. And that site is still there. That's appearing on classicwatch2023.great/site.net. And we also had horses from the past running for us in classicwatch2022.great/site.net. due to older horses being allowed to run in an Irish Classic. So I thought it would be only fair, really. We had horses all over the place in all these races, and it's only fair, really, for me to wrap up the highlights. So I will do that now, and then I will be back shortly. Thank you for watching.
The white flag is raised. 12 fillies lined up, net off. Clever and Cool, slow to gather stride. And this, the Group 1, Coolmore America Justify Matron Stakes is over a mile, goes in prominent with Prosperous Voyage attended by Zarinsk and Just Beautiful in between horses. Then comes Olivia Meralda and Tahira, the star filly in the green and red jacket, as they sort themselves out with less than 6 furlongs to go. And it's Goes in just in front under Lee Roach, closely followed by Just Beautiful, who is representing last year's winning formula, Billy Lee and Paddy Toomey, disputing the third, Zarinsk and Prosperous Voyage, followed by Tahira and Olivia Meralda. Jumbly next with Rogue Millennium, Meditate, followed by Ocean Jewel. Clever and Cool relegates to the back of the field, Caddo Bell. They've passed the halfway stage in the first Group 1 of the festival, the Coolmore America Justify Matron Stakes. They're stacking up. It goes in the lead by a length to Just Beautiful, then Zarinsk. On the inside is Prosperous Voyage, being followed on the incline for the home straight by the nose bandit Tahira, pushed along as Olivia Meralda and then Jumbly. As they turn into the straight, a quarter of a mile to run, and Just Beautiful comes to take Goes in. But poised on the outside is Tahira. Zarinsk is battling on in between horses, followed by Prosperous Voyage. Running on is Rogue Millennium, Just Beautiful, chased by Tahira. Tahira on the stand side, draws level with Just Beautiful, then away from Rogue Millennium, and it's Tahira who leads deep in the closing stages, is going to win her 4th career Group 1 in the Matron for Chris Hayes and Dermot Weld, as Chris smiles for the cameras. Rogue Millennium and Just Beautiful followed in 2nd and 3rd. 8 runners lined up at the mile and a quarter start. They're off. In the Group 1 Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stakes, as they emerge from stalls, it's Augusta Rodin, the striped cap, up in between Luxembourg, Spreewell, the rail. Pushed up on the outside to try and push the pace is Point Lonsdale, followed by Ernesto, and then King of Steel. A gap in the field to Nashwa and Alflela. Continuing towards the final mile, and it is Luxembourg, Point Lonsdale and Augusta Rodin, the stable companions, leading Ernesto in the white colours. Spreewell is knocked back to 5th, and then King of Steel, followed by Nashwa and Alflela. Right across from the stand, 6.5 furlongs to go, and they're getting spaced out as it's Luxembourg and Shamie Heffernan just showing in the lead. From Point Lonsdale and Dylan Brown McMonaghan nudged in 2nd. Augusta Rodin and Ryan Moore in 3rd, followed by Ernesto and Frankie Dettori. Spreewell, Shane Foley the inside of King of Steel and Kevin Stott, and then Nashwa. Holly Doyle, and bringing up the rear is Alflela and Jim Crowley as they pass the halfway stage. Little in the order has changed from first to last. It's Luxembourg by a half. half to Point Lonsdale, 2.5 in front of Augusta Rodan in third. A 1-2-3 for Aidan O'Brien at this point of the race, followed by Ernesto, then King of Steel, who goes by, ridden along Spreewell, then Nashwa, and pushed along is Alflela. Coming up to the 3 mark, and they're tightening up. It is Luxembourg with the edge. From Point Lonsdale, poised as Augusta Rodan. King of Steel improves on the outside of Ernesto, and then Spreewell, Nashwa, and a gap to Alflela. They straighten at the 2, and it is Luxembourg from Augusta Rodan, who's looming on the outside. Moving on from King of Steel, Point Lonsdale. Ernesto is next. Nashwa runs on the outside. Inside the final furlong and 1 from the rail. Augusta Rodan leads. 150 yards to go. Railing is Luxembourg. Nashwa over the top on the outside. Augusta Rodan is in champion spirit in the Royal Bahrain Irish Champion Stake. From Nashwa, Luxembourg, King of Steel next. It's another edition for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. And that off. In the Group 3 Penny Power Stakes, 7 runners, over 1.5 miles, and it's the favourite Adelaide River, who leads Mashore on the outside of Valiant King as they make the bend. Taking them into the back straight, they're tracked by Young Ireland, next to Grey White Birch. On the outside is Lafayette with Al-Nazi, the UK runner, as they continue to head down the far side, completing this turn. It's Adelaide River in front by 3 parts to Mashore. Valiant King third, and fourth is Young Ireland, a gap of 2 lengths to White Birch and Al-Nazi racing together, and lying low at the back is Lafayette. Inside the final 9 furlongs, the leader is Adelaide River. Ryan Moore, tracked by Mashore and Ben Cohen, and Valiant King. Oisin Murphy third on the inside of Young Ireland and Luke McAteer, followed by White Birch and Shane Foley, and then Al-Nazi and Jim Crowley, with 7 of the 7, Lafayette and Colin Keane. They're almost at the halfway stage, the 6 furlong point, and the Paddy Power Group 3 Stakes, mile 4. Adelaide River, the leader, from Mashore, Valiant King, Young Ireland, followed by White Birch, Al-Nazi and Lafayette. Order unchanged as they come inside the halfway point, and they're tightening up. Adelaide River holding sway over Mashore, edging a little bit closer in second, and then Valiant King, Young Ireland racing together. White Birch and Al-Nazi, 3 lengths to Lafayette, making their exit from the back straight with 4.5 furlongs to go. Adelaide River by 1/2 to Mashore, break of a length to Valiant King. Ridden along in fourth is Young Ireland, 2 lengths to White Birch, and then Al-Nazi and Lafayette. Coming up to the final 3 furlongs, working back for the turn into the straight. Adelaide River in front from Mashore, then Valiant King on the inside of Young Ireland, who's about to get a reminder, then White Birch, tracked for home by Al-Nazi, and then Lafayette. At the head of the straight with 2.5 furlongs to go, Adelaide River has now been sent on to lead a couple of lengths. Mashore, then Valiant King, White Birch, Al-Nazi, Young Ireland, and down the outside is Lafayette, but gone clear is Adelaide River and Ryan Moore, widening an advantage of a good 3 to 4 lengths from Lafayette, who's coming on the outside of Al-Nazi. Adelaide River is tying up. Al-Nazi's lunging in the centre. Adelaide River by 1/2 from Al-Nazi. Lafayette and White Birch. Adelaide River had just fallen short the last twice. Beats all in the Paddy Power Stakes for champion winners Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien.
White flag is raised. 4 runners lined up. And they're off in the 5th race. Slow to get going was Islands in the Stream. And this 4-runner, Goff's Vincent O'Brien National Stakes Group 1. And it is the stable companions, Cuban Thunder and Bucanero Fuerte, followed by Henry Longfellow, dropped in as Islands in the Stream. As Cuban Thunder, the outsider, takes up his brief as pacemaker, leads a couple of lengths. Bucanero Fuerte, Henry Longfellow, and last of the 4 is Islands in the Stream. 4.5 furlongs to go. It's Cuban Thunder and Gary Halpin in front of Bucanero Fuerte and Kevin Stott. A little bit closer in third is Henry Longfellow and Ryan Moore with the back marker, heading for the halfway stage, Islands in the Stream and Declan McDonough. It's Cuban Thunder
continuing to cut out the running and extends the advantage with 3 to run from Bucanero Fuerte, who impressed big time here in the Group 1 Phoenix, with Henry Longfellow making good ground in between horses, and then Islands in the Stream. Racing to the final 2 furlongs, the picture is changing as Henry Longfellow strikes the front from Bucanero Fuerte. After them is Islands in the Stream. Dropping right out of contention is Cuban Thunder. Henry Longfellow, twice a winner in as many starts. Latest was the Futurity. It's powering clear from Islands in the Stream and Bucanero Fuerte. They're well strung out. Henry Longfellow continues his rise through the ranks in the Goffs Vincent O'Brien National Stakes. Second goes to Islands in the Stream. Bucanero Fuerte faded in third. Last of the 4 was Cuban Thunder. Another significant milestone reached by champion trainer Aidan O'Brien with career winner 4,000. White flag up. 4 runners standing by. And that off to a straight line in the showpiece and final classic, the Comer Group International Artist and Ledger. Group 1, 1 mile and 6, and it's the outsider Yashin first to show in front, being followed by Dawn Rising. Eldarov, the solitary English runner, one from last, and bringing up the rear is Kyprios as they continue towards the end of the second furlong, and it's Yashin the leader by a length and a half, disputing second. Eldarov on the outside, just shading that spot from Dawn Rising, tracked closely by Kyprios. Right across towards the final 11 furlongs, it's Yashin by 3 parts to Eldarov and the stripes. Just third is Dawn Rising with alongside Kyprios, the returning standout stare and last year's winner. Yashin maintains a lead of 3 parts of a length under Shane Foley. Handy in second is Eldarov. David Egan, third is Dawn Rising. And Declan McDonough, fourth of the 4 is Kyprios and Ryan Moore. Continuing right over on the far side, Yashin the leader, followed by Eldarov. Ironically, his last one came in the English version at Doncaster last September. White cap of Dawn Rising, and completing the quartet as they go uphill to the halfway stage is Kyprios. Yashin from Eldarov, and third is Dawn Rising, and whipping them in is Kyprios. Coming up to the final 3/4 of a mile. Yashin yet to be headed, Eldarov close in second, third is Dawn Rising. Runner-up in the trial here last time. It's just in front of the back marker, Kyprios. Right up at the top, Yashin joined by Eldarov. Couple of lengths to Dawn Rising and Kyprios. They're in 2-by-2 formation, coming down for the turn into the straight. Yashin, Eldarov matching strides. Edging into third place is Kyprios, but nudged to do so ahead of Dawn Rising as they swing into the straight with just over 3 furlongs to go in the Comer Group International Artist and Ledger. Yashin ridden along against the rail from Eldarov, less than 2 lengths back to Kyprios, brought to the outside and gets a reminder with 2.5 furlongs to go, and then Dawn Rising coming down towards the final 2 furlongs. Eldarov one off the rail from Yashin, trying to stay on is Kyprios, followed then by Dawn Rising, but Eldarov has gone for home under David Egan, leads a couple of lengths. Kyprios, Yashin fades on the rail, and then Dawn Rising racing inside the final furlong. There's no catching Eldarov and David Egan. They're 5 in front of Kyprios, and third is Dawn Rising, and then Yashin. Eldarov is adding a second St. Ledger to his CV. The Comer Group International Irish equivalent, won by David Egan and Roger Varian. Kyprios second on return, third Dawn Rising. Yashin whips them in, last of the 4.
Well, what an interesting weekend that was. I'm sure you will all agree. It was an interesting, very interesting, the National Stakes there. Very good performance from Henry Longfellow there. Although it has to be said that I think on that evidence, all classic hopes of Bucanero Fuerte could have been extinguished there. He looked a bit of a non-stayer, didn't he? In my view. I found that he was running over pacemaker when he was a doubtful stayer. Well, that's what it was. You know, it is what it is sometimes. Horse racing. Classic Watch 2022. Well, I thought that had a very good day today, really, with Eldarov, the 4-year-old. landing the Irish St Ledger just goes to show, really, that it is very worth checking out my old site. They're going to give you the Queen Anne winner as well, because triple time is on there as well. I keep meaning to tell the person to update the season for 2023 just to see what the site has won. Problem is, he is so lazy and he just doesn't do anything. Lazy swine. Classic Watch 2023 had a very good day on the first day, as you would see, taking out both Group 1s against the older horses. So what more would you want really than the classic that horses identified on the site have also won classics, and they've also beaten the older horses. Again, you know, this site is really due an update, and hopefully they will get round to updating the site before the UK St Ledger, which I think is next weekend. And regarding Classic Watch 2024, it's obviously not disappointing not to take out the Moy-Glare Stakes this year with one identified by ourselves or myself, but it is what it is, horse racing, and we'll be back. The Guineas is still very much on our radar next season. I thought Ylang was... I was disputed whether she was the one anyway. I like Belletsia out of the 2-year-olds I identified. And I can't understand, unless she's had some sort of a setback, why the sponsors of the race didn't run her in her own race. And they ran something else that was... It's up to them what they run. But Belletsia to me would be my leading 2-year-old filly. Disappointing not to take out the Matron. But the National did fall our way. And again, we're going to hopefully get some horses on here towards the end of 2023 once the European 2-year-old season has run a few more Group 1 races, waiting really for Arc Day and races like that, and then we can maybe pick 5 or 6 to go to war with over the winter. Whether we'll do 15 like we did on Classic Watch 2023 before the season is, well, that's a day for the review really, when we review Classic Watch 2023. And that'll be done probably as near to the turn of the year, excuse me, as I can get it without, if I'm still on this planet, it's one of the things I like to do a New Year's Day stream sort of thing, or New Year's Eve stream, which review every single horse that we put on the site and see how they got on, decide what we're going to move forward with ahead of Maidan, etc. But for now, I'm going to leave this stream here. Some very good performances by horses identified across 3 websites today. They're there for all to see. They're free of charge. Just go there, read about the horses on one site, watch the videos to learn about the horses on the other. But for now, I will say quickly, thank you very much for watching the video and supporting the channel as you have been. It is always very much appreciated, and I will leave it there. Thank you very much, everybody, and take care.